season, and if you don't celebrate Halloween, I still hope that your October was very fun. I hope you're enjoying the fall weather. But without further ado, I wanted to come on here and do a bit of a spooky telling scary spooky stories for Halloween. But first, I'm sure you've noticed it's very dark. I thought we could start by lighting a candle, and setting the spooky mood. It smells like lavender, and you can see that it's looking rough. And then here I have my matches. Then I'm just going to try to light it on the first try. Oh, the second try is not too bad. So now we can tell some candlelit, spooky stories. Spooky. So I'm just gonna sit it down. I know it doesn't give off much light, but hopefully that adds to the spooky factor. So the stories that I have picked out are from Reddit. And all of them will be linked in the description box below. So you can go upvote the amazing authors that made these stories. I'd highly recommend checking them out and checking out these stories because the authors are truly amazing over there. So let's start with our first spooky story. Okay, this one's called Can I Use the Bathroom? And it's by Pick Mirror. Since tonight's Halloween, I couldn't help but remember what happened a few years ago on Halloween. Though I'm not a firm believer in supernatural things, it's events like this that make me look back and question, up until this point in my life, what I've thought to be true and what I believed to be false. This happened 4 years ago on Halloween. I was sitting on the sofa in my apartment, relaxing with my laptop, waiting for kids to come knock on my door, as I usually did, being too old to trick-or-treat, but not a fan of parties. However, this year, I just moved to a new apartment, which was farther away from the larger homes I lived near before, and fewer kids seemed to be in the area. One of the reasons was that it was an apartment complex for single guys and was far enough from my college that people who lived here had to drive to school. Still, I had a small bucket of candy prepared, as usual, which I had been snacking from. The apartments on both sides of me are usually quiet. Nobody lives in the apartment above mine, so far the evening was just hours of silence and occasional music from my laptop. It was almost 7 and still not a single person had come by for candy. I suddenly realized that I might have left the outside light off. I wasn't used to my apartment yet, so I opened the door and looked outside to check. It was off. No wonder nobody nobody had come by. I flipped the switch on and looked back outside to see if people were there. I couldn't see anyone walking outside, but it was dark and the complex was large, so I didn't think much of it. I closed the door and started walking back to the sofa. Knock, knock, knock. That was fast, I thought. I walked back to the sofa, stopped the music playing on my laptop, and picked up the bowl of candy, then walked back and opened the door. A young, dark-skinned boy, probably around 10 years old at most, stood there by himself with what looked like white flour sprinkled all over the top of his head. He was wearing a SpongeBob shirt, I remember, and didn't seem to be in a costume nor dressed unusually except for the white flour in his short hair and on his forehead. He didn't say trick or treat, but he looked up at me and seemed irritated for some reason. "Can I use your bathroom?" His voice was monotone, almost like he was trying to fake a robot voice. I smiled, a bit shocked that my first visitor was this kid and he didn't even want any candy. "Sure, but be quick." He ran inside past me and closed the bathroom door, locking it behind him. I decided to keep the front door open and stand next to it while I waited for him to finish, holding the bowl of candy while looking to see if anyone else was coming toward my apartment. 10 minutes later, and nobody had come by, and the boy was still in the bathroom. Knock, knock, knock. "Are you okay?" There wasn't an answer, but I could hear him walking around behind the door. The water faucet turned a tiny bit. It was streaming softly. I waited by the door. 2 minutes later, and the water was still running. My front door was open, and it was dark outside except for the glow from my porch light. Knock, knock, knock. Can you come out for a second?" I started worrying if the boy was alright, or if he was playing some kind of prank. After all, it was Halloween. Knock, knock, knock. I'm opening the door. I knew it was locked, but I tried wiggling the handle to see if maybe it would budge. The water was running, but I couldn't hear anything else from behind the door. Knock, knock, knock. "Can you open the door?" "I need to use the bathroom," I said, using that as an excuse. I was starting to panic a little inside. Maybe he was hurt. Knock, knock, knock. No answer. Now I'm worrying. I ran my shoulder into the door once, wondering if what I see people do in crime dramas really works or not. It really hurt. I tried it again and again and again. I tried kicking the door. At this point, I'm freaking out. The bathroom didn't have a key, so there was no way to open it. I'm calling the police. Actually, I was worried if the police would even show up in a reasonable amount of time on Halloween. I called them anyway, and they were in the neighborhood and could be right over. While they drove over, I explained on the phone what was going on. When they arrived, I ran outside and unlocked the complex gate, then followed them back into my apartment. The 2 officers arrived, heard the water running, and started kicking at the door. One of them had a crowbar, but they didn't need to use it. My cheap wooden bathroom door was open in a few solid kicks. It shot open, spraying paint dust and wood chips everywhere. The first thing I saw when the door opened was the water faucet still running. Then I saw both of the officers pull out their radios at the same time and enter the bathroom. I ran up behind them to see what had happened, but the officers' figures were blocking the view. "Oh boy," I heard one of them say. Now I was freaked out. I couldn't talk. I was already uncomfortable in my new apartment. I didn't want to have a memory of finding a dead boy in the bathroom. Both officers were shuffling around in the bathroom. Then they stepped out and put their radios away. They just looked at me sternly, and then one of them sighed. I'm not sure what to say. I'm going to let you off with a warning because it's Halloween. My mind was filled with nothing but confusion and fear. I couldn't even look back at the officers after seeing their expressions. be calling us anymore tonight." Then they walked out the front door. One of them turned back to look at me and left the door open. In my panic, I ran into the bathroom. The floor was covered with tiny white wood chips from the door. The faucet was off. I didn't even realize the officers had turned it off. Nothing was there. Nothing else was touched. The next morning, I got a call from a woman. I was certain when I answered the phone I was going to be in trouble, but what followed shocked me. "I was going to call you in regards to prank phone calling this morning, but after reading the report the police gave me, I'm not too surprised this happened in the first place," was what I heard. This is the apartment manager, by the way. We had the same call from someone in that apartment 5 years ago for a similar thing. Maybe you can ask the police about more details, but simply put, we used to be family housing. A boy died in the bathroom 7 years ago. They say he drowned in the bathtub. I couldn't say anything. Happened 7 years ago, and after they left, the next residents called the police a couple years later, saying they heard a boy locked in their bathroom and wanted us to come up. When we got there, it was empty. So it was a ghost was all I could ask. I'm not saying anything. I don't know about all that. I'm just saying it's not the first time, but the whole bathroom's been remodeled completely since then. It was a long time ago. The call continued and we talked about some other things, mostly unrelated to the event of the previous night. I hung up and was feeling a bit shaken. Nothing else happened that day. I decided I better call someone to fix the door. The apartment manager told me that she'd pay for it, then jokingly told me not to let any more kids use it. I tried as hard as I could to smile over the phone. The next day the repair company came by. They called me on my cell phone and I jogged outside to let them in. Right then it felt like my insides were hit with a rock. I suddenly remembered that my apartment complex had a gate. Nobody without a key could enter. No wonder there were no people trick-or-treating at my apartment. It was a singles apartment. No kids lived there, and no kids could have entered. The end. So that was our first story. I don't think it was too spooky, so I hope you can still sleep. It's basically about a little ghost boy using somebody's bathroom on Halloween. So this Halloween, if you have any trick-or-treaters ask to use your bathroom, maybe think twice. This last story is called October 30th, which is today, and it's by Clever Name 21. Clever Name 21. It's a nice morning. I sit on the porch, immersed in the paper. I like to read on the porch before the day begins. It wakes me up more than coffee ever could. I'm scanning over the local section of the Times. So-and-so is going to be inaugurated as mayor soon. The park needs to be safer, says citizen. I'm reaching the end of the page when a noise alerts me and I glance up. A small girl is standing at the end of the stepping stone walkway that leads up to my porch. She has a white dress on and a white veil falling down over her face, hiding any features. Strange. I feel uneasy. It could be the fact that the sun isn't completely done rising behind her, or perhaps that my vision isn't quite up for it so early in the morning, but she appears grainy and washed out, like an old photograph. The effect is unsettling. She stands and doesn't move. I call out, "Hello, are you lost? Do you know where your parents are?" No response for a second or two. Then she cocks her head. "It's not Halloween yet," she says in a small, quiet voice. "Halloween is tomorrow. I'm just trying on my outfit. I'm confused. It's the middle of July. I'm on the porch in shorts and a shirt. October is months away. I'm sorry, I ask aloud. Are you sure you aren't lost? Let's find your parents. She goes stiff. No, don't touch me. I'll tell my daddy. He'll hit you really hard. Stop it, stop. I had previously been beckoning to her, but I stop. I draw back, uncertain of how to deal with the situation. The child turns and runs. I tell myself I should chase after her, but I don't want to. I'm too unsettled. About a month later, it's about evening, and I'm sorting through my attic. I sifted through a pile of old bedspreads and uncover a small box. It's unfamiliar to me, but that's not unusual. The first year I moved in, I found loads of things belonging to previous owners. I open the box up and see that it contains old photographs. I reach in my hand and pull out one that catches my eye. It must have been from someone who lived here a number of years ago, because it's an old Polaroid picture that's taken on a worn-out sepia tone, and the picture itself is slightly blurred. When I focus on the subject, I smile. It's a photograph of a little girl sitting in a yard surrounded by piles of leaves. She has a huge smile on her face and appears to be enjoying herself. Something else catches my eye. There's a light blue sedan parked almost out of sight in the corner of the picture. A shadowy figure is just noticeable behind the wheel. The car is familiar, but I don't know from where. I place the picture back in the box and pick up another. The girl again. Now she's on a swing set in a nearby park that I sometimes take my niece to. It looks like her mother is pushing her. In the parking lot, I can see the sedan again. The shadowy figure seems to be looking in the direction of the girl. I'm a little unnerved by it, but perhaps it's just a relative. I pick up another picture. My heart skips a beat, knocking the smile from my face. It looks to be early fall, and the girl is standing on the sidewalk at the end of the walkway leading up to my front porch. She's wearing a white dress and a thin veil hanging over her face. It looks to be early fall. The picture is washed out and grainy. I swallow hard and feel a chill run down my back. The sedan is in the picture again. It appears to be idling almost out of sight of the photo at the edge of the curb on the other side of the street. The shadowy figure is staring at the child again. I can just make out a slight upturn at the corners of his lips. I shudder involuntarily. I know why the sedan is familiar. I've seen it idling in that same spot before. There's a rap at my front door. The sudden noise nearly gives me a heart attack. I take one last look at the box of pictures, then bury it beneath all the sheets I found it under. I have no intention of ever looking at it again. I rush out of the attic and down the stairs to my first floor. I'm spooked and leave on all the lights behind me. My mind doesn't process that it's strange to have someone knocking this late. I just hope that it's someone who I can sit down with. A rational human who can allay my fears. No luck. When I open the door, there's nobody there. A chill goes down my spine and I shout out at the night. It was just teenagers ding-dong ditching. At least that's what I whisper to myself silently. That's enough. I begin to shut the door. As I'm closing it, my eye is drawn to a blue sedan, idling at the end of the road. I open the door to get a closer look, but it pulls back and drives away. I slam the door shut and run to my couch. I turn on the television and get a fitful night's sleep. October 30th. I'm lying in my bedroom, trying to fall asleep. I had spoken to a friend since the events of 2 months ago, and decided that I was overreacting to a series of unusual coincidences. However, tonight, I feel uneasy again. I stare up at the ceiling and try to imagine it as an impenetrable barrier keeping anything out of my room that I don't want. I haven't returned to the attic since that evening. I'm worried the picture won't be there anymore, or maybe something worse. My phone rings. I give out a gasp of surprise, then feel embarrassed. I lean over and pick it up off my nightstand. "Hello," I inquire in as calm a voice as possible. "Trick or treat," comes a hollow voice on the other end of the line. I freeze. It feels like the cold sweat that's been beading my forehead all night has frozen as well. I'm about to choke out a response, but someone else does before I can. "It's not Halloween yet. Halloween is tomorrow. I'm just trying on my outfit. I'm breaking down in my bed. I feel like I'm going insane." "Really? Is that so? I'll just have to come back later," returns the empty voice. I've had enough. I slam the phone back down on the receiver and jump out of bed to put on my shoes. I'm going to the police to report this. As I slide into my sneakers, I hear a knock. It's not coming from downstairs. It's coming from the door of the bathroom adjoining my room. I begin to whimper and squeeze out tears from the corner of my eyes. Trick or treat. It was the hollow voice from the phone. Empty, cold. I can feel it crawling into my head, curling around my consciousness and constricting it. The sound of it was driving me insane. I sprint out of my room and nearly break my neck grabbing onto the banister at the top of the stairs and spinning around it to go crashing down the steps. I dash through my kitchen and up to my front door. I fumble with it, trying to get it to open. I hear sounds coming from upstairs. Slow, dragging footsteps. I moan and try to shut out the sound, focusing on the door. Finally, I regain my motor skills enough to turn the knob properly and step out into the night, slamming the door as I leave. I nearly trip over a little girl standing on my porch. She's dressed in all white, with a veil hanging over her face. I'm frozen in place, immobilized by fear. My mind feels frayed around the edges. I can't. No, I don't want to comprehend what's happening. A hand reaches out from one of the little girl's sleeves and grabs a hold of my wrist. What little blood that was left in my face now completely drains out. I look down at the hand grasping my arm with a morbid understanding. It's not the hand of a child. The end. So that was a spooky story about a little ghost girl on October 30th wearing her outfit, wearing her Halloween costume, even though it's not yet Halloween. So this Halloween, maybe think twice before you answer your phone. Who knows? It could be a little ghost girl. But that will be all of the spooky stories for today. I really hope you enjoyed this video because it's currently 2:55 a.m. on October 30th for me, so you'll be seeing this like in a few hours maybe. So it's pitch black outside, and I'm not gonna lie, I did spook myself reading those. I kept feeling the need to look behind me. Also, I dressed my two dogs up for Halloween. GJ, which is the brown dog, has a Halloween bow that you can't really see, and this one is to be named. But hopefully he'll be named by the next video, and he's a superhero. So, but yeah, I hope that didn't spook you too much. I really enjoyed making this video. It was really fun to get to read these stories. So if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more like scary story videos, let me know, because I did base these off of Halloween, but So let me know if you enjoyed this video and if you would like another one. But happy Halloween, happy Halloween, happy Halloween. Stay safe out there. Have fun, eat lots of candy, But most importantly, have sweet dreams, sweet dreams, sweet dreams, sweet dreams. I want you to know that you are loved, you are loved, you are loved, you are loved. And you are worthy, worthy, worthy. And I will see you next time.